for your design problem number 3, you finally get to take all of those grid practices and hierarchy practices and put them together to create a 2-page magazine layout. This is also going to be done in Adobe InDesign. So what are we looking for in the layout? This is a really good example of one way you could do it. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. This is a 2-column grid, but it's a really good example for how hierarchy and unity is used. So as requirements is going through them, one main image, so that should be a large image. It doesn't have to be as large as this. It doesn't have to take up the whole page, but it should feel like it's the predominant image, and at least one smaller image. You could use more if you wanted to. A pull quote. So a pull quote is, it's kind of like a tagline, something to pull you in. It's a quote from the article that you're going to use here, and it should be something that's kind of interesting. So about the article and about the image. You could find an existing magazine article if you want. Maybe you have a research paper that you've done that you could use for the text. I'm not looking at the text in terms of grammar or anything like that. I'm just looking to see that I'll summarize your text, I'll look at the headings, and make sure that they make sense with the colors that you've chosen and with the images. So you can take, you don't have to write this text. You can find something that exists and then take a quote from it that it would be something that would kind of draw people in, that would be really interesting. So you need to have a heading, and think about hierarchy here, a subheading, that's that smaller text that goes underneath here. So this one has it as well. So in this example, the law of nature, there's a different use of scale for the different words. This one, the appears is larger than of Pierce, so think about that and think about the alignment of your heading. So it doesn't have to just be, boring, kind of just going across everything the same. Maybe you want to use different scale or even different font weights. You also, so same thing with the subheading. Now if you think back to your readings, how many different font choices should you have per page? We don't want to have 6 different font choices. Oftentimes, a good way to have hierarchy and not use different font choices is just to adjust the letter kerning or even just the tracking, so the spacing that's happening between the letters or between the words on a line, and it gives it a slightly different feel without adding a different font family. So a paragraph text in a multi-column grid structure, so at least 2 columns. You could have more if you felt that that was appropriate. And you're going to export this as a PDF file with the spread option checked. I'm going to take you through all of those steps in InDesign. But this first video, I just wanted to introduce you to what you were going to be covering and thinking about for this project. So it really should tie in everything that we've been talking about so far.